Live on the Fantasy Sports Network, Tony Cincotta, Mike Cardano. We have a special guest, CEO of DraftKings, Jason Robbins. Jason, we're live down here at the Miami Beach Convention Center. We see more and more of these conventions popping up in the daily fantasy sports industry. How important is it for a site like DraftKings, which right now the industry leader, and yet all these people coming and all these conferences appearing? How important is it for DraftKings to be relevant at these events?
Oh, it's everything. I mean, this is going to be where all of the core players are, where all of the core media that's interested in our space is. You guys are here, and that's enough for me. So I think that being at the core industry conferences, the ones that are specifically focusing on daily, it's just as important as being at some of the other conferences that are more generally focused on media and other types of fantasy and other types of things like that.
Jason, we were talking a lot over the last 2 days here on the air about college fantasy football and how, up and coming it is and how new it is. What do you expect for that this year going forward, being that it's so segregated? There are so many possible teams to choose from in Division I sports.
Yeah, that's the challenge with college, is there's a lot more players. So it definitely is a sport that requires more research, and I think there's an appeal to it because the skill level that you can achieve if you put the time in is off the charts. I mean, some of the people that are the best in the industry are the college specialists because they're able to just get such a significant edge by focusing on their research on college. But I also think for that reason, the product needs to be coupled with great content so that the less hardcore players are able to study it. The good news is the core game mechanics itself are awesome. I mean, it's like professional fantasy football arcade style because the scoring is so high. You can get a running back who puts up 7 touchdowns in a game or something, which makes it really fun when that happens. So I think that the game itself is incredibly fun to play, but in order for it to really be able to grow long term, I think just like with traditional fantasy, season-long, professional fantasy football, and then ultimately daily professional fantasy football, where there's become a lot of great resources for content that helps you know who you're picking, understand what the best ways to compete are. You need to get the same thing on the college side.
Mike Cardano, Tony Cincotta, Fantasy Sports Network special guest, Jason Robbins, DraftKings CEO. Jason, I got to tell you, there's one thing you know more than me. It's how these people are going to come out and play fantasy sports games, because I never envisioned fantasy sports you would offer $1 million prize. You did that. And not only was that the most surprising to me, is that 12 hours before the event took off, it was sold out. I know you put it out there and you wanted to grow the game. Did you think fantasy golf could grow this fast?
Golf has been the biggest surprise since I started this. It makes sense now. I know most sports fans who are just general sports fans watch the golf majors. It's very mainstream, the same way football is mainstream. So it doesn't surprise me that the audience is there, but how quickly the fantasy side developed, man, that was really a great. I mean, we put the first one out there for the Masters, thinking, you know what, it's a great opportunity to try something that we'll find out quickly if this works, and if it does, we got 3 more majors we can do this for. I was hoping it would get to 90, maybe 85, 90% full, and I would have considered that a success. And then it sold out like 12 hours early. And so we said, okay, we're going to increase it for the U.S. Open, but I'm pretty sure that there's going to be some drop-off from last time, so this one probably won't fill. And we increased it from $2.5 million prize pool to $3 million, and again filled early. So actually that was the British Open, sorry, that we increased to 3. It was 2.5 in the U.S. Open. So now we went to 3.3 million in the PGA Championship, and again I've kind of told myself, all right, there's going to be a lot of focus on football because we're 3 weeks before football season. The British Open was in the middle of MLB All-Star break, so other distractions going on now. And sure enough, the early pacing signs looks like this one's going to sell out early too. So go figure. Golf has been an unbelievably pleasant surprise, and we're excited about it. We're going to keep building it.
So we saw the success last year with the $1 million prizes in fantasy football. What do you expect? What do you have on tap for this year? Are you going to run some more of those, or are you going to be upping the prizes by any chance?
Oh, we're upping them. We have one opening week coming up, week 1, on Sunday. That's a $10 million prize pool, $2 million first prize, $1 million to second. So it's the first time and only time in daily fantasy history where there'll be two 7-figure prizes given out in the same contest. And we like that because, our feeling was early on that, some of the prize pools were very top heavy. We had, some of these that were like $2.5, $3 million prize pools, and you had $1 million to first, and it made it hard to give really exciting prizes, which is great if you win, but if you're the guy who finishes second and you go from $1 million to 100,000, that's the most bittersweet 100,000 you've ever won, right? So we didn't want that to be the long-term solution. We wanted to make sure that we had a really nice prize structure that we could, make very similar to some of the other games we offered. So instead of kind of taking that $10 million prize pool and putting 3 or 4 of it to first, we tried to get $2 million plus prize in there. Third place is 500,000, so on and so forth. And I think that that's going to be a really great experience for quite a few people. It's going to change a lot of lives, and it's only $20 to enter, so it's very affordable.
So the price has gone down. It was $27 last year.
Yeah, it was $27 last year. This year, our goal is to try to increase the prize pools, flatten out the payouts, and lower the entry fees. That's where we want to go as we scale. That's what we tell everyone, and I think, early on when we had to kind of, for marketing purposes, have it a little bit in the other direction, people would say, we heard the feedback loud and clear, and that's what we're going to be doing.
We're speaking with DraftKings CEO Jason Robins, and it's amazing what you've done with that tournament. And for the new player out there, there's a lot of advertising. Is the number one thing that brings people to DraftKings that $1 million football prize, that $1 million golf championship? Like, we can do all the advertising. We have 17, I believe, $1 million winners in the fantasy sports industry. Drew Dinkmeyer of DailyRoto.com is one of those guys. We have 3 subscribers that are millions. Is that the thing that brings people to the site, the number one thing?
Yeah, I remember one of the guys last year who won, I think it was our first ever millionaire winner, said that he did his research on roto experts to get to the $1 million prize. So that was nice. Certainly that's a big attraction to get people in. What keeps them long term is having a great customer experience, a great product. Really, just making sure that the games are fun, the customer service is strong, the site is reliable and doesn't have technical hiccups, the tools are easy to use, and I think, the rest of it kind of takes care of itself. People, if they have that good experience, keep coming back, they keep getting better, and everyone, that's a nice thing about a skill game, is that even if you come in the beginning and it's tough and you get your clock cleaned, you see noticeable progress as you start to put more time in and get more accustomed to the game and some of the differences from season long. So, that natural retention is built in there, and having these big top prizes is a really helpful thing for getting people to try it out.
Final question for me, I know you got to get going, you got to catch a flight, is which of the games that you currently offer are you seeing the most growth in?
I think that golf is the obvious answer, but baseball has been tremendous for us this year. We have had a huge baseball season, and another one that's been, we have 2 actually interesting ones between NASCAR and soccer that are very new, and UFC is another one I mentioned, all that are really new. They're growing off the charts. We don't have year-over-year data in those yet. It's a little harder. But all 3 of those, literally every week, are up a good 10-15% and have more than tripled since we started on each of those at a bare minimum. So really, I kind of just named every sport we have. Everything is growing quickly now. It's hard to really pinpoint. One of the things I love about the customers that love daily fantasy is that they're sports fans and they love the game. So they'll try different sports, and almost half our customers have told us through research that they've started following new sports that they didn't follow before. So our goal is to just make sure every single game is fun and exciting and adds some value and makes you want to watch all the games and watch all the events more. And if we do that, then I think even if you're not necessarily someone who previously considered yourself a fan of the sport, you can find yourself enjoying it really quickly. I've watched more UFC and NASCAR in the last 3 months than I ever watched in the rest of my life combined.